Okay, that latency is. Okay, that latency is. Okay, that. It's still too big for my liking. It's too big for my liking. It's good enough. Too big for my liking. It's good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. Okay, so the stream is officially live. Yeah, this is a headset, not the onboard mics. But I do have my system flipped around, so I have more desk space, because I don't have a dock right now. Docking's a fucking pain in the ass sometimes. I mainly chose YouTube over Twitch solely because YouTube DL does actually support downloading live streams, because YouTube will actually pull my live streams and automatically upload them to my channel. That's another reason why I chose YouTube over Twitch. Although with Twitch, I can set up automatic mirroring, but I think the fact that they now force ads on every stream and I get no benefit is kind of intolerable. Okay, so let's get going with Coreboot. I can't even read. Oh dear, that was interesting there for a second. Which I can't use. Okay, so we're actually going to do this in Firefox so I don't give away any personal info. So we're going to be working on Coreboot now, so we're going to first sudo apt install git build essential nat flex bison libinc versus 5dev get zlib 1g dev. I have fingerprint authentication, so you can't listen to me type in the password, which is, by the way, ha. No one breaking into my ThinkPad. My ThinkPad. Okay. Okay, so are we going to build a payload? I think we're going to not use cBIOS. I want to use UEFI. Okay, so now we're going to clone to Coreboot. Okay, so it's going to be a while. Oh yeah, I can't do that, but oh well. Yeah, this is going to be taking quite a while, so I think it's because I have extra super low latency set up for whatever reason, and nor am I able to toggle it, which is why it's taking this forever. Combined with the fact that, you know, I'm actually streaming. Yeah, that does sound like a good idea. Uh, Downloading the stream and editing over to boring parts. I'm also talking on Discord right now with some people, so don't mind. Okay, so 6% done, 94% to go. Painfully slow. What happened to my 10 gigabit Ethernet? I don't know what the problem with the connection speed is. I I am having perfectly acceptable ping times, but I really don't know why it's actually being so slow. I mean, I have like 10 gigabit Ethernet connection, so it should not be this painfully slow. But I guess we can take some time and have some fun with looking around and having just looking around at stuff here. Mostly stuff for other modifications for this system, so because it's going to take forever, might as well entertain ourselves. And pre-recorded version of this, just keep note that hopefully this part would be edited out. So first things first, any good ThinkPad has to have the I'll take a look at that guide. Thank you there. So yeah, I plan to get I would recommend one to always get a new keyboard, because you don't want whatever gunk and interesting substances in your keyboard. You want a nice, fresh, clean keyboard. However, just keep in mind, you're probably going to be getting your item from China, so Just note that all the keyboards also use all the second gen systems and the T410 use the same keyboard, so and T510 and the T400S, I believe. You want to buy new. Refurbished, huh? Does look clean, but there's other visible wear. May have to try a T400S. Because the older the system, the cheaper it is. Oh, here we go. Freaking watermark prevents from getting a completely good view, but this is a Japanese keyboard. For any of you weebs, if you will. Yeah, this is great condition right here. Back there real fast. We want to also check out, although I would say this would be fine, I probably wouldn't, solely because it's definitely not a genuine Lenovo. Missing, ThinkPad label there. That's kind of important if you want a true ThinkPad system. And if you're looking for a X220 tablet palm rest, I would definitely advise you to check to make sure that you have those two little holding things. The little pads. Ensure it's actually a tablet one and not the standard X220. Oof. That is a red flag. That makes it make me not believe that's the true 37 or something like that degree angle logo there. Also it probably is. See here, this is an example of what you'd want. This is very clean. Let's take a look at the seller. Oof. Bad seller. Not genuine. I hate this slow connection here. Oh. Well, I wish I could just have that, do that and it'd go up another %. As soon as I highlighted that, that went up 1%. I wish I could do that normally. Okay, so another great example. Let's just check the seller. Oh, it's in the Midwest here in the US, so seller is small but still has 100% positive feedback. And it's for a pretty reasonable price of $25. It looks legit. And it has genuine. It says genuine. And it has touchpad. For $25, you don't get much worse than that. My palm rest currently doesn't have these two little holding pad things here and here. My palm rest sucks, but okay, 30 more %. I hate when this goes slow. So, although this page is mostly going to be for hardware, for the hardware side stuff, which we're not going to get into today because I don't have my clip in yet. Because my previous clip broke, which I was going to use on my T420, and I thought that my T420 system chip was just not working well. So, but whenever I got this tablet here, the X230t, which by the way came with a supervisor password. I was originally told it was a hard drive password. we're going to use the generic X230 guide on Coreboot Speaky for pretty much the hardware side of stuff. And some software. However, I have another guide I'm going to probably use alongside it. A few other guides, actually. Because we're also going to neutralize IME. We want to do that very badly, because IME is bad, it's scary, plus it's just another backdoor. We don't like backdoors in this house. If you like backdoors, then I recommend you leave. My question is why is it wanting us to look at the Sandy Bridge build tutorial when we are working with Ivy Bridge? I mean, hold up. Don't mind me, I'm cleaning up my internal display for my tablet. Hey, it's almost done. And yes, in case you aren't aware by now, I do sound extremely young. Don't judge. But important facts to know while working on the software side of stuff. The X230, this applies to the tablet version as well, as I personally have confirmed, has two flash chips of 8 megabytes and 4 megabytes. They are concentrated into one virtual flash chip, as I'm directly reading off of this. It's a virtual flash chip of roughly 12 megabytes, which is itself divided into roughly 3 parts: descriptor, ME, system flash. However, what we will be doing is completely neutralizing that ME firmware and giving more room for system flash. What that lets us do is have more fun. Because let's face it, we like fun. Any firmware is not readable, vendor firmware locks flash, and yeah, we get it. This is the hardware side of stuff, so we're not worrying about that right now. However, this is one important part you'll want to know. If you've chosen a CBFS size of 4 megs or smaller, and the 4 meg chip is going to be the only one you'll need to flash. However, I'm going to be straight up honest here. CBFS size of 4 megs is going to be small. Very small. For future reference, if you already have the equipment. When you are testing your programmer, read the flash twice, and then compare them, and then make sure you save a copy of it. Make sure the two copies are the same. If they're not a complete duplicates, which, by the way, you don't want to copy and paste them. You want to read them twice, because this is so you can verify that your flasher is actually working well. Your programmer, or whatever it's called. Okay, so now we're done with that. We are going to stop cd Coreboot get submodule update init check out. Okay, so... oh boy. Have fun. We're going to be taking even longer. Wants to get the ARM trusted firmware, but we don't need it. But at the same time, we really don't have much of a choice. We are completely cloning Coreboot, and Coreboot's a pretty big project. I mean, very big project. Here's some entertainment for you guys. It's actually relevant. Getting rid of blobs. This is another guy that we're going to be following. Mostly for the sake of removing Intel Management Engine, which I advise literally anyone that is going to install Coreboot, or anyone that even has the equipment to install Coreboot. Remove IME. You so don't want it. It is the blob as that just described. And it is a security hole ridden piece of crap that you don't want. And just note that this, I'm going to have to probably spin off this guide, solely because this guide is assuming that we're going to be using SeaBIOS. I I will not be using SeaBIOS, but I will be instead using Tiana Core for the sake of installing and setting up UEFI stuff, which, quite frankly, is much preferable for someone like me. I also personally advise you as well, because with Legacy BIOS being completely eliminated here within the next few years, you will definitely want to be moving on from Legacy BIOS to UEFI. And for Coreboot, that means no longer using SeaBIOS, but instead using Tiana Core, which Tiana Core is an implementation of EFI. An open source implementation of EFI? Yes. I'm trying to recall all this, but oh no. We can already see some bad stuff going on here. Blobs. Oh, and for reference, the 4 meg chip is going to be the top chip. The 4 meg chip is going to be one that we're going to be using to do Coreboot. But because of what we plan to do, remove IME and, of course, enabling flashing, softer flashing for necessary updates, so I don't have to constantly reopen up the system. Okay, so as far as I know, there's no other version of the X230 that has there's no X230 that I know of that does not have Intel integrated graphics. I mean, I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but I mean, duh. Well, not just this part. We don't want the disgusting mess that is this part. This is going to be needed, so just keep that in mind. You want to keep the Pi, you want to have a Pi, which, by the way, with the new Pi Zero WH, is now even more affordable to do messing around with Coreboot, because now it has integrated GPIO headers, and also has built-in networking and Bluetooth and all that fun stuff. Obviously, but This part is mainly the one we're doing right now. I'm compiling on, I am using, can't remember which, oh yeah, I'm using Gen 2 right now. I know, sad, I'm using GNOME on Gen 2, making me have to use System D. That aside, which I know is disgusting. And yes, I also do have apt set up for faster installation process of applications. Once again, don't judge. Never heard of a Phillips head, or never heard of a Phillips head be named a crosshead, but this is crucial right here. This, for the flashing part, and all the troubleshooting you'll be doing afterwards. Oh, this is going to be so critical. Like, this is going to be so essential that it is going to be painful. Although, yes, I am working from my X230t for this part. In our next part, when I actually disassemble everything so I can flash, I will be working from my Chromebook. I have a Chromebook, in case you didn't understand from the last statement. Granted, that Chromebook runs like complete crap, and I may have to actually stream for my T420, because that is just going to be way better, even though it's going to probably be another issue of its own. And lastly, but not least, well, my XRO monitor just acted up weirdly. That's fun. CRTs for the win. But you know, they're starting to go out because you have little bits of random nonsense going on. Just all of a sudden. For animals, as long as they're not furries, you're good. And they're optional. Okay, so this had to be stated. Okay, so I guess we're done with that. We're going to be completely configuring Coreboot now. So we're going to now make and config. Oof. Oh boy. We're going to have to shorten this up a little. There we go. That took way too much effort. Okay, so now this is going to be what we're going to be working on here. This is going to be pretty much the rest of the stream. Well, besides the making, but the making's also like the most important part. Excuse me, but so first and foremost, the absolute most important thing you do before you do anything: change your vendor to Lenovo and change your system to the X230t, or whatever you decide that you're doing it on. I'm doing it on the X230t, so the rest of this guide is going to be completely centered around that. And please, please, please. I will not be able to help with issues with any other type of system that is system specific. So, just putting it out there. So now we want to, oh well. So, I just had a brain fart. Oh well. Chipset. Here we go. So, this stuff is going to be later. We'll go over that part when I get my stuff again. But I guess we're not going to be getting Coreboot until I can, not Coreboot, but doing any form of ME cleaning until I have proper equipment. Because it's going to take forever to get that. Ooh, beep on fatal error. That sounds like fun. This I would actually recommend because Bluetooth on Wi-Fi cards is a thing that's happening, and one of the benefits you get with Coreboot is that you no longer have that stupid ass annoying mess that is the Wi-Fi card whitelist. Even as hard as it may be to get a Wi-Fi card that is MPCIe form factor that has built-in Bluetooth, I know that they exist, and those are going to be really nice cards for you to get. So just keep that in mind. Another thing to note, enable TPM support. If you want to use TPM, this is going to be important. For me, I actually do use TPM, but if you want to also deactivate the TPM, enable TPM support, and then select the option deactivate TPM. Because I use TPM on my systems for whenever I run Windows, I have that for BitLocker, and oh, BitLocker is so much nice, so nice. Encrypting stuff, encrypting stuff, encrypting stuff. That is the way of life. Security verified boot. That'd be painful. Console. Oh, we also want to make sure that we set up our payload. cBIOS. We're not going to be using cBIOS. An ELF payload. An ELF executable payload. I feel that would be painful. A Linux payload. A PXE ROM is always nice if you ever have a server that can do PXE booting off of. Which in my case I do, but less bragging, more functioning. We're going to build an IPXE ROM. For secondary payloads, I would actually advise having Memtest 86 Plus as a secondary payload. Solely, it's so you can have that there in case anything were to go wrong. I don't know anything about Coreinfo, but Coreinfo could be useful for whoever knows what that is and knows that they need that. But Memtest 86 Plus, if you don't have a working system, it's having a hard time booting, whatnot. Having that available as a payload would be, well, actually having that as a secondary payload is going to be beneficial for you, so you can troubleshoot that with ease. Hold on. And of course, you want to make sure that you are using make sure you choose your Tiano build, the right one. I would recommend you use stable, seeing how you want a low-level functioning system to actually work, you see. Or if you are on the bleeding edge like me, if you really want to, use master. If you want the newest features, are willing to have any fallbacks in case shit blows up, use master. Stable, you're going to be running a stable build. Let's face it. Debug build, I don't know the difference. Personally, I would just stick with this release build. For Memtest 86, I'd also recommend stable, solely because you never know what you're going to get yourself into with anything. And if you're using Mentos 86, you're going to be wanting to run. You're going to be doing diagnostics of your RAM. You don't want anything wrong with those diagnostics or new bugs introduced to those. As much as you may like some new features that may be in master that's not unstable, stick with stable. I'd also recommend you do that with Tiano. Debugging. Those do look fun, but I would probably recommend against it. For frame buffer mode, I'm going to be using linear high resolution frame buffer. I don't know the difference between those two. I don't know the difference between these two VGA option ROMs. Essentially, you'd be using the already existing VGA BIOS, which that's another binary blob. If you're trying to go mostly open source laptop, use native graphics in it or lib graphics in it. And legacy VGA text mode. If you're using UEFI, high-res mode would be your best choice. That's just me, though. Generic drivers. I don't think you need SPY Flash driver support. Console. I think you want to have the console log level not be spew because that could be painful. Speak modem, console on speaker. That'd be interesting, but that'd be just weird. Don't show any postcodes. But I would probably set the console log level to 3, which is error. Go back to general setup. Compress RAM stage with LCMA. Include the coreboot.config file into the ROM image. I don't know the benefits of doing that, nor the disadvantages, besides the fact that you're consuming valuable storage, valuable limited space on the ROM image. Boot splash image. Oh boy. One could have some really great fun here. You want to have a traditional IBM ThinkPad boot logo, like the one you see on my stream right now. I would completely recommend it. Because just styling up your own system, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But, for whenever I do make my boot splash image, I will publish it. That way others can use it for their liking. Allow use of binary only repository. That would be your blobs. I would not recommend it if you want to go as little blobs as possible. Ccache, don't really need it. CMOS for config values. I haven't actually looked into that, but for someone like me that doesn't have a good config currently, and I don't know what this actually does, I would probably pass up on that. Chipset. You still want to use the microcode. That is going to be the one thing that you are going to want. That's a blob. Well, one of the things that you want, that's a blob that has been modified or reduced or whatnot, removed. Because because that's one component of the Meltdown Inspector vulnerabilities. Meltdown Inspector could be fun. You want the microcode updates, definitely, because you do not want to be vulnerable to that. However, if you're willing to sacrifice the performance, that is. If you don't want to sacrifice performance, then don't apply microcode updates. Outside of that, I really don't know what much else to cover, because we're at our, pretty much where this is the most we're doing, until I have hardware to be able to get anything going. We don't have an I/O port really for postcodes. At this point, we are going to, since we're pretty much done for now, we've made Coreboot. I will probably just stick with, not compiling for now, because we're already going to need to compile later. I will compile now because I have some stuff I need to compile. So what I'm going to be doing is make cross GCC X64. This is going to be the command. You want to use 4 CPUs, which this does include hyperthreading, which a dual core system with hyperthreading would give you 4 virtual CPUs. And trust me, you do not want to be trying to make a Coreboot that's designed for the X230 on ARM, because obviously you won't be able to use ARM. So we're just going to do this because you're just going to be making your first build. Don't really bother with this here because you really don't need to mess with directly using the compiler. Plus, like it says here, you want to use the main make command because you have a make file, because that builds other things you do need. And afterwards, make will build the final product. This stuff is just extra fun stuff. Nothing big. However, I'm probably going to actually experiment with Coreboot a bit more on my Chromebook. Because there's so many fun options you can play with. Way too many fun options, like what was one option? The boot splash. Oh, if I can make a good boot splash, that'd be amazing. Not to mention having whatchamacallit, I can't think of it for the life of me. Oh well, doesn't matter right now. What you want to do is, so essentially the rest of this is just going to be this building, so you can see what the building process is going to be like. I will run a make just so you can see that process as well. However, note that this is not going to be the config that we will be using, and I repeat, I would not recommend you to roll the config that you've made yet, because you will not have everything because you don't have all the blobs yet, and you integrate all of that into Coreboot. And that is going to be fun. This is just for the sake of testing, ensuring that everything built into the Coreboot repository works. And that way you also have a fully functional, whatchamacallit. You want to make sure that your the building works. And I just also want to run this so I can show you guys the process of building it. For those that already have the equipment, just want to see how you'd want to make something for the X230. But I would definitely recommend you to go to the /r/ThinkPad Discord. I will be there, and that's the best way you'd be able to contact me and ask questions and ask other people questions, because chatting with people directly in a chat room is easier than Reddit. Not to mention that you'd be able to I don't know, but you do want to make sure that you make sure you pay attention to your board system guide, which, by the way, you need to make sure if you have to be running on a compatible system to be doing this. Compatible systems include T420. Well, actually, I can probably pull it up, but supported boards. Let me just check to see if the board I personally use is on here. For some reason it isn't. But here's the complete list of ThinkPads that are supported. L520, I would not recommend running Coreboot on an L series. R400, the Twist, oh boy, the Twist has Coreboot. T400, T420, T420S, T430, T430S, T500, T520, T530, T60, 60p, the X131E, X1 Carbon Gen 1, so there's your thin light ThinkPad, X200, X201, X220, X230. These include your tablet variations. And for these two, and for this one, and maybe this one, the slim variants. This does also include the tablet variation as well. That's supported. For those of us that also are into that EliteBook action. This is some these are important details, because EliteBooks are probably the closest counterparts to ThinkPad that are not ThinkPads. So at this point, I will just pretty much shut up for the most part. I will chip in here and there when there's important information that I just see. T61 and T61P should also be supported. I don't know why they're not listed, but... And I also know that the X61 and X61S and X61T are supported as well. So it seems that this is not 100% updated. Okay, so things done. We're just gonna run a make job here. Okay, so everything looks like it's going good so far. It's running much faster right now. Instead of the 55 freaking kilobytes, we have 5.58 megabytes. Well, megabytes and kilobytes, but we don't care. Uh-oh. Mother... Hold up. That's not correct. There we go. That's one thing to know as well. Make sure you install UID dev and NASM. Uh-oh. That is bad. Let's just test it with C BIOS. If it works with C BIOS, we can. I'll be surprised because I've been able to build with the Tiana core before. have an error. Okay, so now removing IPXE and Memtest 86. I'm having it start to compile, and it is. As soon as I say that, to bite my tongue. Okay, so now you have a Coreboot ROM now. Turns out what I had to do is change the version of Tiana Core to had to make sure it was on stable. Master will not build. So since I'm pretty much done here, I think we're pretty much good to go. Thank you guys for watching.